Well, let's begin there, guys. Brian here at 3TG, here to get another episode of the People's Questions, where I answer all the questions that have been sent to me over the past week. We got a pretty average episode. Nothing out of the ordinary, but pretty standard. I don't think we got any newbies, and we only have about 7 questions, which is okay. But at least they're kind of diverse, so that helps. And also, I'd like to let you guys know that I have a tiny announcement that I'll be making at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. So, starting off with simply the first question coming from Cassie J. Williams. You want to know, what are my thoughts on the Rambo movies? Okay, well, there's only 4 of them. I haven't seen the third. The first one, First Blood, pretty good movie, sad story. Pretty suspenseful. Second one is usually most people's favorite, First Blood Part 2. And the most recent one, which technically would even, by our standards, would be considered a old movie. I think that movie came out like 2008. It's like 2007, 2008, which would make it a pretty old movie by now. Interesting film, and I think even to this day, I think like the last like 10 or 15 or 20 minutes of that film, there was so much shooting. I mean, not only had I never seen people's bodies get ripped apart like that, that was like the loudest movie I'd ever seen. Like, even to this day, I think it has the record, at least to me, of being the only film that, as I was coming out, my ears were ringing. I was telling my dad, I was like, geez, is that what it's like to be around guns? Is that why people wear those earplugs? Because, God, that was loud. Which, in a sense, kind of has connections to The Expendables, because at the end of that film, when Terry Crews was firing that Jesus Christ, that cannon of a weapon, Stallone was saying, it's like, God, that thing is loud. I was like, that's how I felt at the end of Rambo 4. I heard rumors that there might be doing another Rambo. I'm not really sure it's necessary at this point, but yeah, overall 3 out of 4 films. Yeah, I would say it's a staple of classic, action movie standards. Next question comes from Santico Scarpino. You want to know, which movie duo do I prefer, Raiders of the Lost Ark or The Last Crusade? Oh, The Last Crusade by far. That's not even a question. I mean, you get Harrison Ford and Sean Connery in a movie together. I mean, that's a movie gold to me. Next question comes from Brady Burke. You want to know, do I think that Final Fantasy VII story will ever continue? No. Why? Why would you? Where could you possibly go? I mean, Sephiroth is dead. Everyone's happy. I mean, the story kind of ended technically on Dirge of Cerberus, and we know Vengeance alive. So, no, I don't know where you could possibly go. I mean, heck, you could have ended it with having children, and I think that would have been a pretty good place to end it. But, they wanted to take it a step further, and they did, and I think it was okay. Next question comes from the Batman of Neo Gotham. You want to know, which Star Wars Clone Wars series do I prefer? The old animated series from 2013 or the CGI series from 2008? As much as a lot of people prefer the 2003 version, which I think is pretty good, I would say, in a whole, I think the CGI version overall is slightly better, simply because, well, obviously it's longer, and I will admit, if you had taken, say, like the first 2 seasons and compared to the animated series, I would pick the animated series. But as it went along, each season made it better and better and better. And so by the end, I would say it's certainly the better series. But it has all that time to develop, as the animated series didn't. So yeah, that's what I would pick. Next question comes from Demetrius Puffer. You want to know, what are my thoughts on the PlayStation 5 being backwards compatible with other main Sony consoles? I heard about this. If it would be shocking if they pull this off, but if they make it so that the PlayStation 5 can play every single PlayStation game going back to 4, to 3, to 2, to 1, if it can play all those discs, I'm not talking about the PlayStation Network here, I'm saying I can actually take all my discs from all those different systems and play it on the PlayStation 5, that's going to be a major plus. Going into PlayStation 5, you have to have backwards compatibility. You just have to. I think that was probably the one big mistake the PlayStation 4 had. So, because I think, in my opinion, the only two features that the PlayStation 4 has that I think are really good is it makes streaming easier and allows you to record your gaming footage easier. That's about it. But if you give me that option and I can play older games, that is a big plus in my book. So, yeah. Next question comes from All-Star Gamer Punk. You want to know, what are my thoughts on Microsoft and Nintendo's partnership? This kind of concerns me, but I hope that Sony has no part of this. And just to let you guys know, the sun just went down. That's why I got a little bit darker. Because here's the idea. Everyone is kind of like really shocked by this because it's kind of giving me the idea that, oh my god, the console might be coming to an end. Oh my god, Microsoft is going to start making first-party support games on Nintendo. Which means it's not crazy to think that, oh my god, Nintendo might actually let some of their franchises be played on Microsoft consoles. And here's the problem with both of these systems. That's because both of their first-party supports absolutely suck. Now let me explain. Microsoft just can't make, this has never had a strong first-party support. It's only been around like 2-3 franchises. And Nintendo just can't seem to come up with new ones. They just keep rehashing the same franchises that they've been using for the past 20, almost 30 years. It's like another Mario game, another Pokemon game, another Zelda game, another Metroid game, another Star Fox game, another Smash game. Like, come up with something new. The thing I love about PlayStation is that every generation they bring in new franchises. They retire old ones, and they bring in new ones. And so every generation feels different. But that's not the case for Nintendo. They just feel the need to keep rehashing the same franchises. When was the last time Nintendo came up with a new IP that was not a Mario game, or a Zelda game, or a Metroid game, or a Star Fox game, or a Smash game, or a Pokemon game? Give me something new. But no, that's what Nintendo, that's Nintendo's problem. Now, don't get me wrong. That seems to have worked for them for like decades, and that's fine. But I want new franchises. I want new stories. I can let go of old franchises as long as you give me something new to bring me into the next 2, possibly 3 generations of PlayStation. And that's the one thing that Sony has constantly done. And so in my book, if Microsoft and Nintendo feel like they have to team up to take on Sony, I think that makes them look worse. Because they can't get the job done. They can't do what Sony does. And that's why I'm a hardcore Sony fanboy. Because I can give up my experiences on Nintendo and Xbox because they don't offer me anything I want right now. And Sony does. And that's why, honestly, I'm not impressed. Because that just shows you just how little faith they have in their own products. So, yeah, some people might think that this is a good thing because, we want a world where everybody can play everything and there shouldn't be a console war. And I think that's stupid. Competition breeds progress. Without competition, everyone gets lazy and we all suffer. So that's just my opinion on it. And the last question of the episode comes from Venom Rules All. And you want to know, what do I think is the main difference between Kratos as a combatant compared to his younger self? Okay. Well, he's slower. He's much more defensive because he uses a shield. I don't think he's as brutal as he used to be. He's a little bit more tactical. I mean, I will say this: he's not as creative with his kills as he used to be. But maybe because he's fighting alongside somebody and he can't pull off those crazy moves. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think the gameplay style for God of War 4 was perfectly just fine. It worked. It surprised me, but it definitely kind of pulled back on the levels of brutality and badassness that Kratos could pull off in his younger days. But I think each different side has their advantages and disadvantages. And that does it for this particular episode. I'd like to thank all of you guys that sent in your questions. And if you happen to send a question that you knew you sent it in the last episode, but you didn't hear it in this video, be sure to check the comment section of the last video because chances are it's there. And if you happen to have any question you'd like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure to get it into me before next Wednesday, roughly before noon, before I start filming the next episode. And before I close out, I would just like to make this statement right now, and I'm going to say this again in a future video very, very soon. I'm really trying to increase my Twitter followership, and I really want to get you guys very much involved in some of the content, specifically gaming content for this channel. My problem is I just don't know exactly what type of content you want to see in terms of topics. Now, I get a lot of questions all the time, but you guys need to know that every month I get slammed with thousands and thousands of comments, which means that it's very, very easy for supposedly good ideas or good questions or good topics to get lost in this just maelstrom of just constant comments, which my phone is constantly getting notifications for, which is why so sometimes there might be an idea that's really good that I happen to miss, but it's only because I get so many. So I've been saying for years that the best way to contact me is through Twitter or Facebook. But I will make this statement right now. I have all the links to all my social media outlets in the description. If you go to Twitter and you follow me, not only will I follow you back, but if you have an idea for a video or a question or a topic video and you send it to me directly on Twitter, I promise and guarantee you I will turn it into a video. That is the best way to guarantee that your idea will be made into a video. In fact, I will give you daily updates letting you know how far or how close I am to finishing your video idea. Because by going that extra mile, by following me on Twitter, not just on YouTube, you are proving to me that you are interested and you're willing to take that extra step and that you have a really good idea that you think would make for an awesome video. And I want to see just how many of you out there are willing to take that extra step. So, if you go to Twitter and you follow me, I will follow you back. And I promise, any idea that you send to me that is very relevant or you think would make for a great video idea or topic discussion, I will be sure to put a video of that. So, with that said, I want to thank all of you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.